Hi! In this video, we're going to be learning how to play notes with our left hand on the violin. We've just covered how to play the open strings, how it is important that we have the right bow angle to play on one string at a time. We've learned how to hold the instrument so that we have good posture, good technique. And now today, we're going to be learning how to change from going with our 4 open strings to being able to play as many notes for as many songs as we want. This is a big step in your violin playing journey, and it's important that we get it set right the first time. So first thing we want to do is we're going to be looking at our open D string. So if you would, go up to playing position. As you look down the D string, we want to line up our hand, slide it all the way back so that the crease of your index finger is lined up with the nut at the top of the instrument, and your thumb is just on the side, barely poking over. Then what we want to do is place our first finger. So we have 4 fingers available to us. We want to use our first finger, the index finger, to curl around and land right on our fingertip on the D string. So it should look like this once you have it. Now it's very important that while you're doing this, 3 things are in place. Number 1, double check your thumb. Make sure that your thumb is still pointing up. We don't want it to point back, so we have a pizza hand, and we don't want it to be wrapping around over the top or wrapping underneath. We want our thumb pointing straight up. We also want to have what's called a rainbow finger. Rainbow fingers are just where the finger is curled. We don't want it coming down flat on the instrument because that will be very weak. Now the third thing to check is going to be a result of the rainbow finger, which is our finger right on the middle of the string on the fingertip. So when we have our curved round finger, the fingertip should be pressing down directly on the center of the string. If you have those 3 things in place, our thumb pointing up, a round finger, and the fingertip pressing down right on the string, you should be able to get a good solid tone. If when you play you get a squeaky sound like this, that usually means we're either not pressing down firmly enough with the finger, or the finger isn't on the right string. You might be over on the A string or over on the G. So we want to make sure that we're on the D string with our first finger down. Now if you have tapes on your instrument, then you'll have 1 tape up here. Just go ahead and make sure your first finger lands smack in the middle of the tape. If you don't have tapes, you're going to be using a lot of your ears. You're going to be listening a lot. Make sure that it sounds in tune. So the first song we're going to be looking at today in all 4 strings is number 21. It's called Up to E. So we only have 2 notes. We have our open D, a rest, our E, which is our first finger, and then another rest. Now if you've been playing your open strings so far, you might think, well, hey, Mr. Bird, when I play open D, and then I see E, doesn't that mean play open E? Well, you could do that, but we can only play so many songs with our open strings. So what we're doing now is, as we add our first finger, that changes the note from D to E. The reason this works is because of our musical alphabet. The musical alphabet starts with A, just like a regular alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats, it continues, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So after G comes A. So what happens now is when you play any finger on an open string, when you put your first finger, I should say, on the open string, it will change the note by 1. So if you're on the D string, and you put your first finger down, we went from D to the next one, A, B, C, D, E, so now we're playing E. So for number 21, we're going to play it together now. We're just going to play with a long bow for each note with a rest in between. So we start, make sure we have our violin up in playing position, bow at the frog, and we start with open D. Ready, go. Rest. Now during the rest, put your first finger down on the D string. Now we play the note E. We rest again. We can repeat now. So we lift the first finger, play open D, place the first finger, we play E, and then a rest, and we're done. So I would encourage you to play the rest of the songs at the top of page number 9 and just practice setting your first finger down, D, E, and get used to making a really good and consistent sound. If when you play D and E it sounds different each time, then that means we're not putting it in the same place each time. So always double check your positioning first. Thumb, side of the first finger, and then rainbow fingers down. Okay, now logically, if we played open D and put our first finger down and that changed it to E, if we place our second finger down, that will change the note from E to A, B, C, D, E, F. That'll change the note to F. Now, if you look in your book, it's not just F, it's an F with a hashtag next to it. That hashtag is called a sharp in music. So this is called F sharp. So we now have 3 notes that we can play. We have open D, E with our first finger, and F sharp with our second finger. Now when you place your F sharp, it will be a space away from your first finger. So we don't want them touching. We don't want them very close, not yet. We'll do that in the future. For now, we have our first finger down and then our second finger. That's D, E, F sharp. And the same rule applies for your second finger. You want to make sure that it's a curved finger and it comes down firmly on the fingertip. A new rule that we would add is that anytime your second finger is down, make sure your first finger is down also. So if we play D, E, this is something I see a lot. You'll set your F sharp and your first finger will come up. Now the note will still play, but we're going to have a lot of trouble with consistency and you won't be able to play as fast in the future. So we want to build a good habit of always keeping our fingers down as you walk up. Now the cool thing is with these 3 notes, D, E, and F sharp, you're going to be able to play all of the songs on the next page, on page 10, one of which is Mary Had a Little Lamb. We're really going to be focusing on that one this coming week. So really practice getting your first and second finger down on the D string for the notes E and F sharp. And we want to also strengthen our relationship in our mind between the notes and the fingers that we're pressing down. So as you play E, always think in your mind, I'm playing E on the D string, first finger. As you play F sharp, think 2, second finger. So let's do as an exercise, we'll play number 25 together. So this is number 25 in all 4 strings. It's called Up to F sharp. We're going to start on open D, have a rest. During the rest, we'll set our first finger, then we'll set our second finger for F sharp, and that's it. So here we go, number 25, up to F sharp. So set your bow on the open D string, make sure your fingers are free of the strings, we're not pressing them down yet. Ready, go. D, rest, set your first finger, E, rest, set your second finger with the first finger also down, F sharp, rest. Now we're going to repeat, we'll do it again. So we play open D, rest, place our first finger for E, rest, place your second finger for F sharp, rest, and we're done. That's it. Now, another thing that you can do with all of these songs on the yellow pages is you can take the giant letter and instead of just playing it one time, you can play the bowings that they give you. So if you look back one page, on page 8, you'll see it says more rhythm patterns. And so there it says rhythm pattern 3, Rosin. So for that, you would just play Rosin. So if you were going to play number 25, you would play it like this. Rosin, rest, E, Rosin, rest, F sharp, Rosin, rest, off, and you do the repeat. You could also do the same with the bow, where it says pattern number 4, it's just called bow. You're going to hold that one. Bow, bow, bow. The one that I really want to take a look at, though, because this will help us in our playing, is going to be the second combined pattern, which is called Rosin Bow. So we're going to combine those together, and we're going to play Rosin Bow, Rosin Bow, Rosin Bow. And while you play Rosin Bow, this is excellent for learning bow distribution. Bow distribution just means how much bow we're using on each note. We don't want to always use the whole bow because it can get a little crazy. So what we do is on the smaller bows, which would be like Rosin, the faster notes, we'll only use about half the bow. So you'll play from the frog to the middle. Rosin, and then on bow, use the whole thing. Bow, and then Rosin, bow. So when you set those in place, you always want to just make sure that your fingers are in tune, they're in the right place, they're playing firmly a good sound, and that your bow, you're using as much bow as you can on the long notes and about half bow on the shorter notes. Now, how do we know if we are playing in tune? Well, we want to listen. We want to hear the sound of that scale that we talked about before. D, E, F sharp. If it sounds different or if it sounds squeaky or squawky or you're hearing crunches, remember, be a music detective. Ask yourself, do I have enough arm weight? Do I have enough bow speed? Is my finger in the right place? And is my finger firmly on the string? So if you ask yourself these questions, then you should be able to figure out what's going on with your sound. Now, I want to recommend one exercise that you can do going into the next page, and it's going to be called what we call finger push-ups. Finger push-ups are just like how if you want to get strong arms and a strong body, you would do lots of push-ups. For our violin, we can do finger push-ups, which is just, it's very simple. It's a lot less work intensive. You just, I would start on the D string and just put your first finger down, make sure it's down nice and strong, and then lift it up again. And just go up and down, landing in the same spot on the D string, and do about 10 times. And then what you can do is leave your first finger down, that's the note E, and then do the same with your second finger. And then what you can do is lift all of your fingers and then see if you can go 1, 2, 1, 2, lift, 1, 2, lift. And you want to do each of these 10 times a day, and it'll just strengthen your fingers, make them faster, make them more accurate. If you do these, then going on to the next page, playing all of the songs with these 3 notes, D, E, F sharp, will be a piece of cake. And it'll make sure that as you continue on in your violin journey, learning songs will be much, much easier, and you'll have a good sound, and people will love to listen to you play. So that's it for this one. Make sure you practice page 9, setting your E, your F sharp, and having a good sound as you practice.